presentations in minutes, again, using two different methods, but are going to be really powerful ways of doing this. Then we're going to do summarization at a very, very different scale. We're going to learn how to build websites without writing code, that too with a completely free tool stack, something that you probably have never heard of before. And finally, I'm going to show you a job hunting way where you can automate very smart job hunting, all using AI while you sleep. And finally, last but not the least, there's a tool that I'll teach you, which led to a massive IT layoff and also led to erosion of billions of dollars worth of money in the stock market. That is the tool that I'm going to teach you how I use it every single day to autopilot, to basically automate a lot of things that I do on a every single day. Guys, does the menu today look good? Drop a boom in the chat. If you're excited about what you're going to learn, drop a boom in the chat so that I know all of you guys are with me today. And we will use a lot of Claude, and we also are going to use a lot of other tools as well today. Now, here's a quick heads up. There's going to be a lot of tools. There are going to be a lot of prompts that I'm going to use throughout the next 90 minutes. Here's the thing. One, there will be no recording. I hope you guys are clear about it. We will not be sharing recordings. If you're not focused, if you're not learning, that's on you. If that is the case, you might as well drop off from the call and chill. Right? There will be no recording. That is one. Two, I will share links to all the tools and all the prompts that I'm using right now with you guys towards the end of the session after the Q&A. After the Q&A is done, we will have a Q&A towards the end. After the Q&A is done, we will share a document with links to all the tools and all the prompts inside of it for free. So don't ask me over and over again, what is the name of the tool and everything, because I'm going to share everything with you. In fact, Funny is going to share everything with you towards the end. No recordings. And of course, right? Take notes if you can. Clear? Give me a thumbs up if that's clear. And these rules are not changing for anyone. Yes? Awesome. With that being said, let us get started. Okay, with the first one. Folks, here's the thing. The first thing that I spoke about is that the first thing that I wanted to teach you guys was mastering the art of getting the best out of AI. What do I mean by that? You see, AI is quite powerful. It's the same AI tool that everybody has. But there's a reason why the kind of work that I'm able to get AI to do for me is very different to the kind of work that you are able to do. Because a lot of people don't understand how to get the best out of AI. And whenever I talk about something like this, most people think when it's about getting the best out of AI, you need to do prompting better. And you need to learn something called as prompt engineering. I don't think that is a wrong advice. That's absolutely a bang on advice. And we teach prompt engineering in all our programs as well. But here's the thing, because this is a workshop, I wanted to teach you something even more fundamental, but 99% people get it wrong. You know what? You cannot learn prompt engineering like the best unless you learn something even more important. And that thing that is even more important is called as context engineering. Take a note of it if this is the first time you're listening to this. Something that is even more important, because prompt engineering can get very complex very soon to get the best output. But before prompt engineering kicks in, you need to learn something called as context engineering, which will change the way you give outputs. And you know what? It's simpler than most people think. You see, prompt engineering is all about writing a better instruction so that AI can perform better. That is all prompt engineering is. And there are a lot of frameworks for that. If we just talk about prompt engineering, I could spend like 5 hours just talking about prompt engineering. But you know what? Context engineering is something different. And I want you guys to take a screenshot and put this as a wallpaper if you want to. But this is very important. Context engineering is all about giving AI everything a smart human would need to do the job. What do I mean by that? Let's say you want to do a task. You want AI to do a task. You have to think exactly like in a way that, hey, if I would have given it to a human to do the same bloody task, what is the information that would have given the information that I would given the human? What is the context that I would given to the human being to do the same job? It's that art of crafting that information And this time, instead of giving to a human, you give to an AI, and that's called context engineering. Giving AI everything a smart human would need to do the same job. Does it make sense, guys? While prompt engineering is just instructions, context engineering is giving everything a smart human would need to do the job. There's a reason why I'm repeating this over and over again, because I want you guys to understand the difference. It is very, very important, right? Now, let's do this with an example so that you get a better perspective. Okay? So let's take up a very simple example. Writing an email to 10K subscribers of mine, inviting them to the generative AI workshop. Just right now, a bunch of you guys are Outskill learners. You have joined in to see this Claude workshop as well again, right? Let's say I want to invite you guys basically to this generative AI workshop. What would I do? Simple. I would go to something like Claude, right? Write a prompt like this, write an email to 10K subscribers, inviting them for my generative AI workshop. And you know what? Claude is actually quite smart, right? Claude is actually quite smart. It will understand what it is, it will understand what the email is. And in the end, eventually will be able to give out a very cool option. Here it comes. But you see what this is doing. Claude is doing something interesting. It says a few quick details is what I need, and it's asking me questions automatically. This is what I like about Claude. Even if I give a simple prompt, it is very, very smart to understand that it needs more context. And every time you get a pop-up like this, don't just click on the skip button. Actually try to answer these questions because it needs the clarification. It's trying to take context as quickly as possible. What's the workshop format? Live, online. Is it free or paid? It's free. Do you have date and time? No date, keep it vague. So I gave it some more context with a very simple prompt that Claude asked me for. Because Claude was like, there's no way I can write an email with such a simple prompt. So it asked me for some context. I gave it some context. Now it's thinking and it's going to put all this information together to give me out an email. And here it comes. There's curiosity driven, there is FOMO and urgency driven. I really like the UI of Claude as well, how beautifully they do it. And says, you're invited, free AI workshop. And here comes the whole email, right? I'm hosting a free live generative AI workshop. I want you in the room. No recordings, no replay, just me. This is everything that we'll cover. This isn't a sales pitch. It's a proper hands-on session, blah, blah, blah. Everything around it is right here. It's actually already a pretty good email because Claude was smart enough to understand context engineering is important. As a result, it ended up asking you follow-up question, just like a human, to get more context to be able to write this email. And it ended up writing two different kinds of emails. Now, this is something everybody would do any which ways. How are you going to be different? Well, you're going to be different because all of you guys today are going to learn a very simple context engineering framework. There are 5 layers of context, guys. And when you write a prompt, if you want it to be context engineered, if you want the prompt to be context engineered, then you need to think about answering these 5 questions in the prompt. 1, identity context. Who is the AI acting as? Or how do you want the AI to act as? That is identity context. 2, world context. What does AI need to know about your situation, business, or audience? What are all the information that you can give AI about your audience? 3, the task context. What exactly that needs to happen? What do you want AI to do for you? Is the task context. Next is an example context. In example context, there are 2 examples that I recommend you to give. One, a good example and also a bad example, so that AI knows or Claude knows what is a good example and what is a bad example. As a result, it can optimize its output. And finally, a constraint context. What are the boundaries? What it should not do ever. When you put together identity, world, task, example, and constraint, you're giving enough context to AI to be able to give a great output. And I want you to take a screenshot of this. This in itself could be super useful. You see, every time, a lot of times we try to use AI and we are always like, dude, this AI doesn't get me. This AI doesn't understand me only. The reason why it happens is because we often don't give it good enough context. The moment you give this level of context in terms of identity, world, task, example, and constraint, it does a much better job. Now, for the same prompt, right? For the same task that we gave, write an email to 10K email subscribers, the newer prompt which is context engineered, would look something like this. I will be like, first, I will give the identity context. You're a casual, warm newsletter writer. Write like a smart friend, sharing an opportunity, not a marketer. Right? That is how I want my Claude to behave like. Then the world context. My 100K subscribers of Staying Ahead newsletter are Indian professionals who tried AI but don't use AI at work consistently. They fear falling behind. This is what my world context is. This is how my users are. So I'm explaining that in a very simple language. I have 100K subscribers. The name of my newsletter is Staying Ahead. These are all Indian professionals and they've tried AI, but they've not been consistent with it. That is the context that I gave. Then I gave that task context. Invite them, which is the task. Invite them to the free live generative AI workshop this Saturday, 11 a.m. IST. Hook, save 2 hours daily using AI, not recorded. So urgency is real. Registration, and I could enter the link. I could just enter the link. Let's say outskill.com, right? I just enter the link. And finally, the example context. In the example context, you can see there are two parts to it. One is a good one, and the other one is a bad one. The good example is feels like a friend texting about something useful. I want it to feel like a friend is texting about something useful. Short paragraphs, one CTA, repeated twice, and that's pretty much it. The bad example is event poster energy. It should not feel like someone is reading an event poster. No bullet point agendas. No fancy words like unlock and freedom and transform and all those things. Keep it simple. If someone reads the email, it should feel like a friend has written them the email. So you can change it however you want. This is how I want my emails to be. So I'm giving it the context. And finally, constraint context. I say keep it under 200 words. Subject line should be under 10 words. No emojis, no bullet points, and keep it first person. So, guys, there is no fixing of this. You can keep playing with it. In fact, I will share this prompt with you guys as well. You can keep updating it as well. But you get the idea. When you give this level of context, the kind of outputs that you get will be significantly better. Now, the moment I gave this context, you see it has started to do the work right now, right? And you will be able to see the email to be much, much better purely because of the amount of context we gave. And like I told you, we are going to be sharing all of this with you guys. And look at that. Free live workshop this Saturday, 2 hours back. I want you I want you at this. That is how the email starts, like a friend. I want you at this. This Saturday, 11 a.m. I'm running a free live generative AI workshop. I'm going to show you how how to get 2 hours of your work back using AI tools you probably already have access to. No theory, no generic AI is the future talk, just a live session where I walk you through everything. Here's the thing, it's not recorded. I want people to actually show up, not people to register and forget. So Saturday works for you. This is the moment. Register here. See you there, WebHub. I wanted it to be simple, 200 works, like a text. That is my context, right? As a result, it gave me the exact email in a way that I want to. That, my friends, is the power of context. You see, the kind of outputs you get fundamentally changes. Are you able to understand? Are you able to remember? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a heart if you're able to remember or understand. Now, I'm going to show you a nice little hack right now. You know what I'm going to do? Let's say I want Claude to remember this. This is my style of writing emails. Every time I ask it to write an email, what do I do? I want you to focus on this. I want Claude to remember this is my style of writing. So I can say something like this to Claude. Hey, now that you understood how I write my emails based on the prompt that I gave, I want you to remember my email writing style and save that as my email writing skill. So the moment I tell my Claude, now that you understood how I write my emails, I want you to remember my email writing style and save that as my email writing skill. Now click on send. You know what that happens? Automatically, Claude will understand how I write my emails, break it down, and save it for future use. So that every time I say write an email on this topic using my email writing skill, it will remember how I write my emails because it will remember this prompt. It will remind itself of this prompt and it will write an email exactly in this own style. Look at this. creating Webber's writing skill. It's building a skill so that it can save it. So right now, I'm giving my Claude a superpower. I'm giving my Claude an ability to remember things so that next time I write an email, it automatically writes like this. If you think that is insane, drop in a heart. You can see Claude has pretty much saved that as a skill. Now all I have to do is click on save skill right here, and that's it. That is it, guys. It now remembers how I write forever. And you know what I have to do? This time, let's say I'm writing a new email. I don't have to break my head. I can just say, write a email so that I can get a leave for the next 1 week. I want to tell my team that I'll be on break for the next 1 week because I'm traveling to US to meet the AI founders. And write this email by using my writing skill. That's all I say. I say, write this email using my writing skill. I don't have to explain much. I just say, write this email using my writing skill. And you can see this reading email writing skill. What is that? Because we just saved the skill, Claude is remembering how I write my email. By reading the email writing skill, it's reminding itself how I write, right? And it will adapt. Look at this. It will adapt the voice principles for an internal team leave notice. And look at that. It just came up with the email in the style that I want. Heading to US next week to meet a bunch of AI founders. We'll be on the road the entire week. I'll be off the grid for most of it. For anything urgent, please coordinate with each other. If it's genuinely can't wait, ping me on WhatsApp. I'll check in when I can. Back and fully on this date. Nothing that needs my immediate action before I leave. Make sure you send that over my side. Guys, if you think this is insane, drop a boom in the chat. First, I taught you how to write a prompt using context engineering. And once we understood how to write a prompt using context engineering, we converted that into a skill for Claude so that it can remember forever how I want my emails to be written. Right? Awesome. So, moving on, this is the 5 layers of context, and that is how you go about context engineering. We just try that out. Now, there's another thing that I want to quickly show you guys. You see, now we tried Claude only. Let's say you want AI to work for you and you want multiple AI models to give you answers so that you can compare. Before this, I used to do this a lot. I would go to ChatGPT, I would go to Gemini, I would here to go to Claude, I would give the same prompt and wait for it to give me an answer. One very interesting tool is called as Get Multi. Okay, that is what Get Multi is. What it does is actually quite cool. What it basically does is I can click on this compare model option, and you can see this top models picked for you. I can just select this. You can see GPT-5 Chat, Claude 4, 2.5 Pro, DeepSeek R1. In fact, I can add more models also if I want to. In the whole list of 500 plus AI models, right? And I can simply send the same prompt, click on the send button, and you know what? What it basically does at this point of time right now is look at this. It is able to get answers from 4 different AI models parallelly for me so that I can read answers from OpenAI models, Anthropic's models, Google's model, and DeepSeek model and pick up the one that I like. Guys, drop in a heart if you think this is super handy. Instead of me going to 4 different AI tools, or in fact more, I could just simply send one prompt and I'm able to get all my AIs parallelly to give me answers, and I can prefer and pick whatever I like. Guys, let me be very clear. Someone just asked me, will it work if I don't have a paid subscription? Good things in life cost you money. AI will be a force multiplier for a lot of people, right? Something like multi is an absolute force multiplier. But you know what? AI costs money to run. So these tools do cost you money. It depends on what you want to pick and what you want to use. For example, the Claude skill that we just showed you, while you can get a question and answer to come from AI, if you want the skills to work, you need a paid account of Claude. A lot of good things will need a paid account and they'll not work for free. You have to open your mindset. Of course, if you're a student or anyone else around it, I'm sure you'll find hacky ways to figure that out. But if you do a job that makes you money, if you have a problem spending 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 rupees on an AI tool that will allow to 10x yourself, my friends, you're not valuing your own time. That is what I would say. Because good things at life cost you money, so does AI. But you know what? I'm not going to stick to only free tools. I'm going to teach you the best tools because the best people use the best tools to get the best outcomes. That is the way. But that doesn't mean that if you're a student, you cannot use AI. Of course, you can with a lot of free versions. You'll have the time to figure it out. I hope that's clear. Is that clear? The moment I constrain myself to only free tools, right, I will not be able to give you enough value. And you will not be able to see the real power of AI. Awesome. Now, now that you're off that, I want to get to the next step. The next step is something that is super exciting if you ask me. The next step is about how do you explore an important mode that can really help you to make informed decisions using AI. Something that you could do which will 10x yourself, but something that will take you hours and hours of your time that could be done using AI really fast. And one of the skill sets that AI is incredible with is actually called as research internet your service or deep research. Deep research as a feature is quite powerful using AI. And you know what? Deep research is all out there. You, of course, you can go to Claude, a tool like this, send a prompt like this. You're an expert management consultant who does extensive research on any topic using the best frameworks. Do research on edtech LATAM countries and see how well Upskill can do if we launch AI courses in LATAM, Latin America, which is Brazil, Mexico, Peru, all those countries. Also, do some research on changes we'll have to make in Upskill offerings to win the LATAM market. Make sure all of this is as detailed as possible. I could send a prompt like this, and if I want to understand, if I want to do market research about anything on the internet, I basically have to read up hundreds of articles on the internet, right? Instead, I can come to a Claude, which is very good with deep research, select research as an option, and click on just the send button. And you know what? Claude will literally read through hundreds of articles for you on your behalf. But before that, you can see Claude is very smart. If it needs more context, it will ask you for more context, right? It's asking me if I should use any tools, to which I will disable. And look at that. It has started to load its research capabilities. As a result, it will be able to read up literally hundreds of articles on the internet to be able to do this. But there is one more tool that is actually quite powerful as well, and that is called as Perplexity. On Perplexity, if you click on this add button, there is something called as deep research that you can select and send the same prompt and click on send. Both Claude and Perplexity are incredibly powerful when it comes to deep research. But I'm going to show you something that a lot of people won't be aware of. Have some patience if you already know what deep research is. Now, on Claude, if I gave it actually, okay, we have a split view turned on, and we'll have both of them here. You can see on one side, we are making Perplexity to do the research. It's doing research at this point of time, reading up a bunch of articles right here. And here, Claude on the left side, I've basically split my windows into two views, right? The left is Claude, the right side is Perplexity doing its job. Claude is asking some follow-up questions. It's like, for LATAM markets, what should I prioritize? I'll say all markets. What's the outskill likely go-to-market strategy? I'll say direct to consumer. What's the price context that I should benchmark against? All tiers. I gave some context. Now, Claude will get started to do the research right now. Look at that. It will get started to do the research at this point of time, covering all the aspects of it, and it will do it. While you can see on the other side, Perplexity is reading up literally hundreds of articles on the internet for us as we are doing research and gathering insights. So we have two incredibly powerful deep research tools that has the potential to literally read up hundreds of articles on the internet working for us, right? Literally working for us parallelly. Now, once you see this getting finished, this is how it looks like, right? A Perplexity will give you a report like this. It asks some questions. Worked for 14 minutes, 42 seconds when I ran it for the last time. 14 minutes, guys. Went through 611 different sources. It read 611 different websites and eventually gave me this document of full research about what it thinks about the opportunity. AI took 14 minutes to read 600 different sources to be able to give this information. And the same way, I gave the same job to Perplexity as well before we started the call, obviously. It went on for a lot of time and gave me this full report on Perplexity as well, which is super duper extensive. Well, you can do the measure to see what works really well for you, and you can pick up the one that you like. But here's the thing, I told you I'm going to show you an insight that is going to blow your mind. While this is awesome, this is great, what I wanted you guys to know is something very different. What I wanted you guys to know is, if you want to truly unleash the power of deep research, the way I would want to do it is I want multiple AIs to do deep research for me parallelly, compare with each other, and give me one final output. It's like making ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini to work independently and then share all the results with each other, discuss and debate, and finally give me one output. Wouldn't that be insane? Not just getting three AIs to work individually, but work like your team members, drop in a heart. All the three initially will do research all by itself. Once it finishes the research, it will talk to each other, debate like team members, and finally tell you what is the best output. That is the next leg of deep research. That is the next superpower of AI. And you know what? You could do that today. If you go to Perplexity, right? Again, guys, these are the paid features. These are the paid features, but this is what allows you to unlock like nothing else does. On Perplexity, if I click on this add button, there is something called as model council. If I select that, I have the ability to select multiple AI models. You can see I've selected GPT 5.4, Gemini 3.1 Pro, and Opus 4.6. And you know what? I can just send the same prompt and click on the send button. You know what it will do? It will make all the three AIs work parallelly. Look at this. There is GPT 5.4 thinking starting to work, Claude 4.6 thinking starting to work, and Gemini 3.1 Pro starting to work as well. It will do the work for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Once it finishes the work, this is how it will give up. The Outskill LATAM market entry strategy, the strategic analysis. Look at this. There's a pointer that where models agree. These are all the points where all the three AI models agree. You can see all the three boxes. It's like three team members, and all of them agree with all these 3 points. Now, here is where models disagree. It's like team members, a few points they agree, few points they don't agree, right? That is what is happening here. There are a few things. For example, first market to launch. Broad agreement, but 5.4 thinking gives more weight to Chile as premium enterprise validation market alongside Mexico and Colombia. This is where they disagree. Claude 4.6 for recommended fellowship pricing for LATAM. Claude 4.6 thinking provider specific pricing anchors. Gemini 3.5 Pro thinking references broader market norms. So all of these guys have different recommendations on a few points. And also look at this. Each of these models also made unique discoveries. So GPT 5.4 thinking came up with this unique discovery and why it matters. Claude came up with two different unique discoveries, and Gemini 3.1 Pro thinking came up with these two unique discoveries. And finally, a comprehensive analysis of the whole damn thing. Guys, if you think this is wild, drop a comment MB, mind blown in the chat. We literally got three different AIs to work parallelly for us and then agree to a few points, disagree to a few points, and also find a bunch of unique discoveries individually. Are you able to understand this? Are you able to understand this? And out of all these things, as I'm teaching you, there is someone who is like, bro, this is recorded. And somebody also finds it boring. My friend, why are you on the call? Drop off, have fun. Here, I'm not to entertain. I'm here to teach. And people who value it are going to stick around. People who don't value it, who want to watch reels, you can jump off the call. That is where the entertainment is. Here is where you learn. All right? Awesome. With that being said, let us move on right now. That's the research intern, guys. It's crazy how things have leveled up. Instead of prompt engineering, we jumped on to learn context engineering. Instead of removing the prompt, we converted the prompt into a skill. Instead of doing deep research on multiple platforms, we got model council to work with each other, debate, and give us one final output. Look at the levels of throughput that you guys are having in one simple way. Now, that is research intern at your service. But before we move on, I wanted to show you one more other kind of research, which I believe is super duper useful. And that is researching using social data. What do I mean by that? You see, when we use deep research, right, it usually researches based on information that is out there on the internet in form of blog articles. But if you want real time information on anything, if you want opinions, if you want valuable stuff like that, then you have to do something else. You know what you have to do? You have to dig or research into social media data where opinions are shared real time. And one of the top platforms where opinions are shared real time, a very well kept secret of a lot of people, is X or Twitter. But you know what? When you use Chat GPT or Claude or anything like that, it cannot use Twitter. It cannot research into the data of Twitter because Twitter has not allowed any of those LLMs to use their data. But Elon Musk has its own social network, which is called own AI assistant, which is called as Grok. And whenever it comes to researching about information that I want basis of social media or real facts, I use Grok. And of course, I use the free version of it right now. And I can write a prompt something like this. You're an expert social media researcher who analyzes real time public sentiment and conversations on X. Search X and tell me what people are currently saying about Claude versus ChatGPT versus Grok. Find the top creators, common complaints, pricing expectations, language people are posting in. Give me raw quotes, handles, and patterns, not just summary. You can write a prompt on any topic, ask it to look up tweet data, just the opinions of people, and Claude will get into work. Claude will work really hard. It's going to take about some time. And you know what? Claude will end up giving an answer like this. It thought for 1 minute, 37 seconds the last time I ran. And look at how different it is. It looked up all these tweets. Look at that. It looked up all these tweets that are even posted like a few hours ago. Right? And of course, it went back to older tweets as well. It did everything, looked up all the tweets out there, and gave us this information from just the tweets. It just gave all this research information from just the tweets. So it's very, very, very crucial and important information out there, right? Something that you can't find from Perplexity or any other tool. I thought I should tell you about this because this could be extremely handy. That is social research using AI, using Grok. This is where I use Grok. But let's say you are doing this research of LATAM market. You are the head of strategy of Outskill. You were doing this research, right? You put this together. You found where models agree using model council. You created this research using research. You did all the information. And then your boss called you, or let's say I called you. And I'm like, in the next 60 minutes, I have a meeting. Can you convert this into a presentation? What do we do? Well, we can use AI to convert this research also into a presentation. How do we do that? Well, pretty simple. I can write a simple prompt inside of Claude. I can say, you are an expert when it comes to crafting incredible presentations, which is extremely data rich. You have the skill to not only write the presentation, but also design the presentation. So use your PPT skill to be able to make this presentation. And I want you to create a presentation based on the research that I'm going to share with you below. I just want it to be like 5 slides where you capture everything the best way possible for me. And again, right, if you want Claude to generate a presentation for you, remember to write this line. Use the presentation skill. to make the presentation. This is an important line. When you say presentation skill, you remember how we save the skill, which is the email skill. Claude by default comes with the presentation skill for free. You don't have to create it. It has it already. So I just say use the presentation skill to make the research, make the presentation. Here is the research. And you know what? You remember how we did all this research? I'm going to just open this, copy the research, drop it right inside. And you remember Model Council where we got this as well. I'm going to copy this information as well. I'm just going to copy this information as well. Come to Claude and paste this as well. Both perplexity information and Claude information has been pasted. And I simply click on the send button. And you know what? Claude, I'll just close these out so it doesn't eat into. Look at this. It's reading the PPTX memory, which is coming by default for free on every Claude account. It is reading the PPTX memory and it will get started. You can see now I have everything I need. Let me build a stunning 5-page deck. And you know what? It's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to actually build this presentation. With that being said, I want to tell you one more thing. That is, you can build a very similar presentation inside of Google as well. A lot of people don't know this. If you go to Google Gemini, I can just send the same prompt, but here's the hack. You click on this tools icon and you select canvas. You have to select canvas to be able to build the presentation. And you know what? I'm just going to copy this information that we gave to Claude to build the presentation. Here it comes. And there was one more file, this one, which was the Model Council. And I just give all the information. You should turn on the thinking mode. And the best part about Gemini is that it presentations work even if you have a free account. You don't really need a paid account for this. Even if you have a free account, it works. And you know what? Just in a while, Gemini will start writing code. Yes, it will start writing code to build the whole presentation for you. That is the wild part. In fact, Claude is also exactly doing the same here. It is also going to write a lot of code for you in the backend because it doesn't know how to go into presentation tool and make the presentation. It will code the whole presentation and give you a PPT file. Just to save time, I'm going to stop this. I've executed this sometime back. And you can look at this. I gave the same information, all of that. And you know what? It worked for like good 20 minutes. And I had asked for a 12-slide presentation. And here it comes. Claude literally built this 12-slide presentation after working for about 15 to 20 minutes. Exactly, I don't know. And here it is. And you know what? It's the PPTX format. So I can upload this into Google Slides or a presentation software like Microsoft Presentations to be able to edit everything and start using it as well. Look at this. The whole presentation was done by Claude itself. This is the paid account of Claude. You need a paid account to be able to pull this off. But you know what? You don't have a paid account of Claude and you want something to work for free, then you can use Gemini, right? And look at this. Gemini just ended up building the presentation for us as well. This is slide number 1. Next slide. You can see slide number 2. Next slide. The whole presentation is right now built by Gemini here. This is done for free. So you can play with whatever you think makes sense. You want to go with Gemini, you want to work with Claude, whatever works for you, you play with it. But here's the thing. It can be an absolute force multiplier for you guys. No matter what you use, Claude, you need a paid account. Gemini, you can do it for with a free account. Folks, I've been yabbing for an hour right now. From a scale of 1 to 10, how is the session going on so far? From a scale of 1 to 10, how is the session going on so far? Awesome. For all the people who are enjoying,